Sometimes we ask ourselves, how can God even listen to me? How can He choose me? And how can He simply love me? But He did. And His word tells us that while we were still sinners, God gave us His Son and sacrificed Him so we could be made right with God, because we were going to God's wrath. We were enemies of God. We were going to experience His wrath, but because of the sacrifice of Jesus, we have been saved from that, and we had been made right with God. We have that path to be friends with God now. We have that right as adopted sons and daughters to be right with God. So when the shame comes, when the anxiety, when the depression, when all the things that the enemy is trying to flood your mind with, you have to rebuke it and remember that Jesus has gave up His life for you specifically, so you can be made right with the Father, so you don't have shame, so you don't have guilt, so you don't have all these things that are trying to flood your mind, that you're such a bad person, that you can't possibly be right with God. No, you have that right to be with God, because Jesus has given you that pathway, that open door to be able to be right with God. Because once we were God's enemies and now we are friends. In Romans 5 verses 8 through 11 says, "But God has shown us how much He loves us. It was while we were still sinners that Christ died for us. By His death we are now put right with God. How much more then will we be saved by Him from God's anger? We were God's enemies, but He made us His friends through the death of His Son. Now that we are God's friends, how much more will we be saved by Christ's life? But that is not all. We rejoice because of what God has done through our Lord Jesus Christ, who has now made us God's friend." Rejoice, brother and sister. Don't let the enemy steal your joy, because that's exactly what he wants you to be: in sorrow, in grief, in anger, in violence, in anxiety, in depression. He wants you to be the contrary of happiness, of joy. He wants you to be just in pity. Don't allow the enemy to steal your joy, because you have that right. Simply being God's friend should be enough. Sometimes we don't have all of the things in the world that we want, the materialistic item things, or even sometimes simple as our health, or sometimes family members that have gone, or just friends, or just sometimes we're just so lonely, or we have financial problems, or whatever the case. We're all battling something, yes, but the simple of being God's friend should be enough should be enough joy to overpower all that grief, all that sorrow, all those things that weighing you down. Don't allow the enemy to fill your mind with all the problems that you have going on in your life. Don't allow him to steal your joy. Laugh at the enemy and tell him that you have been made right with God, that one day you will be with God in heaven and rejoicing more than ever. Until then, you will carry that joy here and not let the enemy steal your joy, because you have that right simply just by being God's friend. And Jesus' sacrifice was not something simple, it was big, and it's something that we should rejoice and always be thankful and grateful for, because soon we were gonna see God's wrath, but because of what Jesus did for us, we are now not gonna see it, and we are gonna be right, and we are right with God, and that's something to be grateful about. Simple. So don't allow the enemy's darts to hit you. Block them with your shield of faith and your breastplate of righteousness. Pull your armor on and remind yourself of that joy that we should walk with every single day. Not shame, not guilt, not you. None of us are perfect, but we serve a perfect God. God bless.